Peace to the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy, always creates elevation. Peace to the high vibration of human beings in the university. That's the whites, Asians, Mexicans, Arabs, and Dravidians who are of high frequency, who are not racist. And peace to the ancestors for working through me. I would like to start by sending the deepest of insights before we go to the divine download. I would like to start by sending the deepest of insight and divine love and peace to the elders within the university, those who are 65 and older. You are the representatives of yesteryear, and you are to be respected. And I just want you to know that I love you deeply. I want to send the deepest of insight, divine love, and peace to my peers, those that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s within the university. Ashe. And I want to send the deepest of love and the deepest of insight and peace to the Blue Crystal babies, those who are 19, 18, and under within the university. Deeply, and we are back right now with another divine download, and we're going to get right into it. I know you all have been seeing me address a few things that's been going on with the media. We were able to give an interview over the phone that we posted on the YouTube channel. We also posted a second interview kind of speaking about the petition. So it feels good to just actually get back to giving a lecture right now. But the ancestors have divinely decreed me to enlighten and inform you. It is a part of my soul contract, so I will do that until they remove me from this material plane. I have also been divinely decreed to help raise the vibration of the collective consciousness, so I will continue to do that. I say. With that being said, I want to speak to you about something that a lot of you may not know. And a lot of this information that I revealed to you guys, some of it you may have heard, a lot of it you may have never heard. And Zeus, aka Satan and his kingdom, even some of this information they don't even remember. They have been locked down here, stuck on this material plane for so long. And they can never rise back up into the heavens and the cosmos until they repay the karmic debt. So this is why they attack me. This is why they are attacking the university right now. But what they fail to understand is the University of Cosmic Intelligence is divine. Once again, it has no physical venue. The University of Cosmic Intelligence does not have a physical venue. It isn't on any piece of land. It isn't a building. It is a spiritual and a philosophical institution, and it is based within you, the listener. You have the free will to believe everything that I'm saying, or you have the free will to think it's all bullshit and, unsubscribe or, click out of the video or, call me by derogatory misnomers such as crazy, conspiracy theorist, cult leader, whatever, because you don't understand the metaphysical breakdown or the esoteric wisdom that is being displayed and exhibited within this university on this YouTube channel. So today I bring to you the legend of Blackbeard and the Black Pirates of the Caribbean. And I know I'm going to piss them off, y'all. Zeus, one thing about Zeus, a.k.a. Satan, he's not scared of anything. But you know what he is scared of? You know what he is scared of, Cosmic Family? The truth. That's the only thing Satan fears is the truth. He fears nothing else but the truth. And a lot of people don't know that it was black pirates, let alone that 99% of your pirates were actually goddesses. And we'll roll into it. So first off, let's start with who was Blackbeard? Because I understand we have a lot of the Blue Crystal babies in here, 19, 18 and under. They may have never heard of Blackbeard, Captain Blackbeard, and a lot of the Aboriginal beings. A lot of the gods and goddesses may have never heard of Captain Blackbeard, because I know that we don't really read that far into what took place during the pirate age in history. It's like the cowboys and the Indians, right? Like if you start asking about who were certain cowboys, a lot of us wouldn't be able to tell you. We just know we heard of cowboys, right? But Captain Blackbeard was a very, very famous pirate during the age of piracy. But first, we have to talk about what was piracy. So you had this era in time where they showed you these guys jumping on ships, and the pirates would basically go to other ships that were known as merchant ships at the time. And these merchant ships would be delivering all type of goods, transporting goods back and forth from the Americas across seas back to Europe. And you had these pirate ships that would basically block the trade route, right? And they would catch these ships on their trade routes, and they would rob them and take all of the resources, all of the gold, the silver, the minerals, the herbs, everything that these merchant ships had that were traveling back and forth from Europe over here to allegedly the Americas. Now, keep in mind, right? I'm just using their verbiage right now, and I'm using their titles right now. I'll break down, I'll expound as we get deep into the lecture about what I'm saying, because you understand, of course, this is not America. This is Atlantis. There is no water that you have to go over to get to any part of the land. All of the land is connected, meaning you do not have to go across the water to get to what's called Africa. You can reach Africa on the land. You can reach Europe on the land, as well as Asia and these other continents that they show us on their map that's across the water. Okay? But sticking with how they tell the story first, let's talk about how they deliver the story. You had these merchant ships traveling back and forth. Okay, so to break it down to your layman's terms, think about it like, imagine if you lived in Atlanta and you had stole a bunch of goods from Atlanta, Georgia, and you was gonna hop on the highway and drive all these goods back to New York, right? Well, that would be the equivalent of these merchant ships that came from Europe, stealing all these goods from the Americas and taking them back to Europe. Blocking the trade route would be like, if I knew that you had to drive from Atlanta to New York, I know what way you have to go. Or if I know you're driving from Atlanta, Georgia to California, you have to take 10. You have to take 10. 10 is going to take you west. Or if you're driving from Atlanta, Georgia to Detroit, Michigan, I know you have to hop on 75. 75 north is going to take you out of Atlanta clean straight through Ohio, Michigan, all those things, right? So if I know you was driving to Ohio from Atlanta, I know you have to take 75. So all I have to do is basically park my car somewhere on 75 and wait for you to come down Interstate 75, and then I could just rob you and take everything you have. So that's what the pirates would do. The pirates would just park their ships in the route that they knew these merchant ships had to go back and forth. And that's what the pirates did. That's what the pirates became known for. So that's why when you look at pirate stories, you always see the pirates, pulling up on ships, boarding them, swords out, fighting. I know a lot of people are fans of Pirates of the Caribbean. You see them jumping on ships, boarding ships, fighting each other, but you might not have never understood the historical facts of what's taking place. So we'll talk about that, though. Okay, so first thing that must be understood is, let's talk about Captain Blackbeard. Why is Captain Blackbeard important during this pirate phase in history? Well, the reason Captain Blackbeard is so important is because when it comes to the history of the pirate history, he is literally the most famous pirate of all time. Very feared, very respected, to the point where he has become a legend. And you can Google about Captain Blackbeard. Him and his crew, they terrified the English, the Spanish and the French and the Portuguese ships. They terrorized those people. And I want you to focus on the countries I just named: Spain, France, Portugal, right? they were some of the main ones that were running these so-called merchant ships. If you look up Captain Blackbeard on Google, they're going to show you a white man with a beard, with long stringy hair. All right. They don't have any physical pictures of Captain Blackbeard. They don't have any physical pictures of him. But they do have cartoon-like pictures. They do have cartoon-like pictures. So the cartoon-like pictures that they have of Blackbeard are the only pictures that they have to validate or to give you some type of imagery of how Blackbeard looked. Okay? And I'll pull up a picture right now for you guys to look at right now. But notice that he is basically shown as a white Caucasian male. So specifically, he's shown as a Caucasian. And secondly, I want you to focus on that he's shown as a male. All right? His entire crew are also shown as white males. In fact, if you look up any of the phase in history with the pirates, they are all shown as white males. Okay? They don't show you any women, and they do not definitely show you any black people being a part of this age of what's known as piracy, the pirate era. But Captain Blackbeard was a very feared pirate and the most famous. The whole ideology of the pirate's treasure, right? You hear things like Treasure Island. Well, Treasure Island comes from the legend that Blackbeard had hid some of his treasure on one of the islands not too far from present-day North Carolina. So that's where you get the first saying of Treasure Island. Also, pirates are known for what? Hiding treasure. Well, that legend all comes from Blackbeard, because Blackbeard was believed to have had this huge treasure because he was the most feared pirate throughout the entire Caribbean, and he stole a lot of treasure. Now, it was said that he buried this treasure all throughout North Carolina, in a couple islands not too far off from North Carolina, but mostly in the Carolina area, right off the coast, which is the Atlantic, which is all still part of the Caribbean, going down into Florida. Also, I want you to understand something too, that the pirates were not in the Pacific Ocean. All of the pirating happened strictly in the Caribbean islands, in the Caribbean. So that's Florida, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, all up through there. Nowhere else. Focus on that now. I want you to think about that now. A lot of people might not know that. So that's why they even came out with the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. You might have thought they just named it that, but no, the entire pirate era that took place, it happened in the Caribbean. It wasn't like in the Pacific Ocean or nowhere else. It was just right in the Caribbean area to be specifically, where all this warring and fighting went back and forth between these pirates and these merchant ships that were owned by Spain, France, and Portugal. But yeah, Blackbeard was definitely a very, very feared pirate, and very well respected. He was so feared to the point that they literally had to call in all the forces, the French, Spanish, and Portugal. They called in all the forces to gang up on Blackbeard. On November 22nd, which is actually my solar date in this incarnation, November 22nd was the day that Blackbeard was actually captured and beheaded and killed. But of course, he was set up. And once again, I'm telling you their version of history. So this isn't the esoteric version yet. We haven't got there yet. I just can't jump to the esoteric version without laying out to you the foundation of the frivolous lies and the facade that has been painted about Blackbeard, who he was, and just pirates in general. I also want you to understand that you have to remember the pirates were only taking the gold and the silver from the Spanish and French and Portuguese. So we can just sum Spanish and French and Portuguese. These are all a part of what? The original 13 bloodlines who are documented in American history specifically. They taught us in high school. They are labeled as the 13 colonies. However, the 13 colonies were looked at as peasants in Europe. They were looked at as peasants. They were not a part of the royals. So when you hear the song sung by Lorde, the queen, she's a queen, because white people are queens and kings, and blacks and Latinos are gods and goddesses. This is a fact. But Lorde is a queen. However, she made a song called Royals back in the day, a couple years back, and she said, "We will never be royals. It is not in our blood." That's a very deep song if you understand historically what has taken place on this planet amongst the white people. You have two different types of white people. You have those that are a part of the 12 colonies, and you have the 13 colony. The 13 colony was cast out. I'll expound upon that in a later lecture, but that's imperative that you understand that, because that 13 colony, these were the ones who were viewed as peasants in Europe. So they didn't get the privilege or get treated like those who were considered the royals. The royals were the 12 colonies. So when you're talking about Spain, France, Portugal, England, they're all part of the original 12 colonies. So understand that when we're talking about this pirate age, it was these 12 colonies that were still in this gold and silver and minerals and herbs and sugar cane and cinnamon and, all the natural resources, and they were taking it back to Europe. But you have to ask yourself, we know, Cosmic Family, that who was on this land first? So-called African Americans and Latin Americans, right? Or your so-called black and Latino populations of the world. We were here first. We are the aboriginal beings of the land, and we are indigenous to the land. So if we were here first, that would mean that they were still in the resources from who? They were still in the resources from us. Now, understanding that the 12 colonies, these are the ones that came and colonized us. These are the ones that came and conquered us, all right? Remember, I told you, they entered our planet through portals in the Caucasus Mountains. And we began to enlighten them and teach them everything they know. A group of us called the Moors. They took all the information, all of that magic, and used it against us. Pushed our second son off the planet, cut down our giant trees to disconnect us from our telecommunication abilities, blew up our giant pyramids, right? And caused us to fall into a lower state. They caused us to fall in frequency. So we went from this gigantic state of being huge and being original colors of green. Our skin was green, blue, violet, and we glowed. We are luminous beings, so we glow because we are carbonated beings, full of pure cosmic light, spirit and soul. So we had a glow to us. The entire landmass was one huge, beautiful forest. And we did have we had cities, so we had a few buildings and stuff like that. I mean, they get the whole idea from us, but you have to understand, they caused us to fall in frequency. So we fell from that Atlantean state, because in the Atlantean state, we were in tune with our abilities, because the frequency was higher. So we were vibrating on a higher frequency, so we were in tune with the animals, we were in tune with the plant kingdom, we were in tune with the elements. So we had all of our abilities, which we still have them, but they are locked deep inside of your DEA because you are not connected to nature. You have been disconnected from nature.
You have 1 minute left.
So we were in tune with hydrokinesis abilities, which is the water, and pyrokinesis abilities, which is the fire, and aerokinesis abilities, which is the air, and geokinesis abilities, which is controlling the land. We were on that frequency, but, after they put us under these spells and basically used our technology against us, then we fell in frequency from this Atlantean state down to the Mississippian state, down to the Egyptian state, down to the tribal state of Cherokee, Choctaw, and things of this. So that's the state we was in when we were talking about this pirate phase. I won't let that settle in your mind for a second. So we're at the tribal state when we get to this piracy phase in history. I want you to think about that for a second. They don't teach you this in school because it's too powerful. They don't like to connect dots.
Thank you for using.
Yeah, so we were at the tribal state by the time we get to the pirate phase. So that means when we were at the Atlantean state, we moved as one body. We were truly at our highest divinity, and we were fully in tune with our higher self. All right. So this is why the Greeks who we taught, who studied under us, viewed us as gods, because that's what we were, and they literally called us the gods. When you look at Greek mythology and they talk about the gods, you're going to always hear them say the gods, plural, as in more than one. They are referring to us, the Atlanteans, the Atlantean gods. Although we come from the Sirius star system, Sirius X, Xylanthia, to be exact, we are Anunnaki gods. However, this realm is Atlantis. So when we descend down into these physical vessels, which we call avatars, which have been reclassified as bodies, we are on Atlantis. So we were also called Atlanteans, Atlantean gods. So we fell to the Atlantean state because they used our magic and our divination against us. So we fell all the way down to what we know as the tribal state. But at the tribal state, we were still fully aware of who we were. We were fully aware of how far we had fell in frequency. And we were still aware of who the enemy was. That these individuals had came and they had betrayed us, and they were trying to kill us and take us off, enslave us within our land, and drain the land of its resources. So this is where you get all these different tribes. You get Maya, Inca, Aztec, Ashanti, Dogon, Mandingo, Choctaw, Cherokee, Illinois Confederacy, Powhatans, the Sioux, the Cheyenne, the Apache, the Navajo, the Californians. You get all these different tribes. And we were still fighting to protect the land. So you have the 12 colonies that were still at war with us because after we fell in frequency, we were no longer giants. The next thing they had to do was enslave us in the land, and that's what we were fighting for at that point. So they were trying to round us up and enslave us in the land. And what they would do is they're not from this planet. So they were so obsessed with the resources that we had, the silver, the gold, the crystals, the herbs, the spices and sugarcane and things of this nature. So they would excavate that from the land, and they would put it on ships and try to take it back over to Europe. They was also, because we were at war with them, like I told you, 99% of the so-called black and Latino population of today, we were not enslaved, as the history books would like you to believe. No, we were not. We were at war, but we were not enslaved. Now, you had a small percentage of us that would get caught and become what's known as what? A prisoner of war. So, let me repeat that. A small percentage of us would get caught in the war, and we would become known as prisoners of war. That's what we became known as. So those of us that would get caught would become enslaved. So this is why when you look up the slave plantations, you can Google this for yourself. You'll see it was not that many slave plantations. It was billions of us on the land, and there's only a few slave plantations. And these slave plantations did not house billions of slaves. I mean, some of the biggest slave plantations only had maybe 100 or 200 people on them. So you got to ask, where was everybody else at? We was at war fighting for our land, fighting for our culture, fighting for our future. So sometimes what these ships would do is they would actually not just get these merchant ships. These merchant ships would not just have merchandise on them. Sometimes they would have us on them. They would capture some of us that would hold us as prisoners of war and ship us back to Europe. And Europe is where they would re-educate us and rob us of our culture and things of that nature. They would do a lot of that in Europe, and then they would leave you over there maybe 13 to 20 years. They mostly like to grab a lot of kids because the kids represent the future. See, they told us history in reverse. On those slave ships, the majority of the slave ships had kids on them. They was in women because the women were used for breeding. They didn't really want any grown males because we were strong, we would fight back. And they definitely didn't want no elderly because eventually the elderly would transcend. They wanted the kids because they knew the kids represent the future. So they would take the kids and put them on the slave ships and send them back to Europe and re-educate them and rob us of our culture and rape us and breed with us and stuff like that. Okay, so this what was happening in the tribal state, and we were at war with them on the land, and that's well known. But what a lot of people do not know is that we were also at war with them on the water. This part of our history is scratched out of the history books because this war that we did with them on the water is hidden behind the history of the pirates. See what I'm saying? So this is why you have to. This is where you have to understand where the pirates really came from. If I told you, like I told you earlier, what was the pirates doing? Pirates were known for robbing ships. Okay, they paint these pirates as white, but ask yourself, why would never in history have the white race fought against the white race? They have showed us that to make us believe that they don't just fight with us, they fight amongst themselves, but that's not true. Now when they was in the caves in the Caucasus Mountains, they might have threw a couple rocks at each other, some shit like that. Got into a fist fight or something like that. But I'm talking about as far as the all-out war. Every war in history was them fighting us. I'm talking about the French Revolution was them fighting us. The American Revolution was them fighting us. The Civil War was them fighting us. And they don't want you to know that because they don't want you to believe how powerful the ancestry that you come from. They want you to believe that they just came and enslaved niggas and we was just slaves and that was that. And then Abraham Lincoln came and freed us. But that's not true. That's not the cosmic truth. We will always stand at 10 toes, fighting for our land, fighting to protect our women and to protect our children. We always did that throughout history, and they know that. They know that. You always had other white people that also fought with us. But you have to understand, why was it white people helping black people get away during the Underground Railroad? Because those were white families that were looked at as peasants in Europe. And they knew it. So they was on our side fighting against the evil white people. You get what I'm saying? Just like you always had black people that was house Negroes that would sell us out and try to go join the evil whites because they didn't know who they really were. You always had that throughout history. Okay, so now I want you to understand that Captain Blackbeard was actually, not only was he black, but he wasn't a he at all. He was a she. And the reason they're not going to tell you that Captain Blackbeard was black is because he's one of the most legendary pirates of all time. The pirates were rebellious. They were revolutionaries. They were rebellious. You know what I'm saying? So why would they want you to know that? Secondly, they have based their whole history on the degradation of the women, black or white. I mean, when they wrote their version of the Bible, it literally starts by saying that Eve, or woman, is responsible for the downfall of civilization. When the black woman was enslaved, the white woman was enslaved as well. She had no rights. Her husband wasn't trying to have sex with her. He was too busy in the barn fucking the black slave. So imagine how that would have made a free white woman feel. They called her savages and animals. But yet her husband don't want to sleep with her at night. He all in the barn rolling around in the haystack with this little black nigger slave, which is how we were looked at. You get what I'm saying? I mean, even to the point where they didn't want to have sex with just our women, they would come in the barns and rape us, the males. It's called buck breeding. I'll expound on that in a later lecture. So, this is how he treated his own white woman, and this is how he has treated the woman. So when you look at today, you see the woman getting degraded in the videos, and they teach us to hate y'all, and they teach us to look at y'all as sex objects. Well, that's what they promote because they have done this since the beginning of time. The whole idea is to kill the divine feminine energy. So with that being said, you never hear them talk about no warrior goddesses in history. And they go with the pirates. Blackbeard was not white. And it wasn't a he, it was a black goddess. And you know how you know? If you look at the pictures they show you of Blackbeard, the nigga got locks. If you pay close attention to how they tried to draw it, he has locks. Pay attention to that. All right? Now, you have to understand something. It's a lot of hints, though, if you look into it, that let you know that, that lets you know that Blackbeard was not only black, but that Blackbeard was a goddess. Understand that the pirate's patch. The patch on the eye that they said that the pirates wore was the pirates was not really wearing patches on their eye like that. That symbolizes the one eye symbology. And we already know what the one eye symbology stands for. It's the all-seeing eye. See, you never thought about that. Because we're going through a spiritual renaissance now. So think about when you was a kid and they showed you the pirate with the patch over the eye. You never thought about the one eye symbology of it. You just thought, the pirate wearing the patch on their eye. Well, when you put the patch on the eye, that means you have one eye exposed. And what's the one eye symbology? The all-seeing eye. Meaning that you are in tune with your spiritual self. And the pirates, Blackbeard, the goddess, they were so tapped in with their spiritual self that this one eye symbology is what they would have on their flagships. They didn't literally wear the patch over their eye. They would fly the symbol with the face with the patch over the eye, and one eye being closed, the one eye being exposed. But it's not even one eye being closed. The one eye represents that we are in tune with our higher self, the Christ conscious state. The third eye is open. The eye that was open represents the spiritual eye being open. The patch represented the physical eye was closed, and that they were detached from the material plane. They understood who they were and their purpose. Now, let's look at what the pirates were doing. The pirates were robbing the white people. Why would these white people be robbing each other? They show you the pirates is white, but why would the pirates be robbing? Why would French and Spain and Portugal, who all work together, be robbing each other? That doesn't make sense. They all living in Europe. They all working for the same person. They all part of the 12 colonies. Why they robbing each other? They all on the same ship going back to Europe. Now, in the history books, they tell you that the pirates were the Englishmen that were poor. Then they wasn't getting love from Spain, so they decided to rob Spain. Bullshit. England is part of Great Britain. They are all together. Don't get caught up in those titles. You know what I'm saying? The whites that came to our land and stole our land, they were viewed as buccaneers. That's the correct verbiage for them. They were viewed as buccaneers. This is where the Tampa Bay football team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's where they get their name. That's from the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were the ones that would come to the land, war with us, rape us, rob us of all our resources. They would get the gold, the silver, the minerals, the spices, the herbs, all of this stuff, and try to take it back to Europe. So we already was warned for our protecting ourselves on the land. So you had a group of goddesses that came together and said, "Hold on, we gotta protect the water too. You're not taking shit from the land, and if you do take it from the land, we're gonna meet you in the water and take that shit back." And that's what the pirates was doing. They were trying to leave with all our resources, and then the pirates would meet them on them trade routes, jump on them ships, kill them, and take everything back. All the silver, all the gold, everything they stole, they would take it back. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as the ships that was coming from Europe that would have slaves on them, they would stop those ships, board those ships, kill the captain, go to war with France and Spain, and take over the ship and free the slaves that was on the ship. That was the whole idea behind the pirates. They were actually rebels. They were actually like the Navy for us, the Aboriginal beings. They were our version of the Navy. But they will never tell you that in the history. They make the pirates look bad, like they the bad guys. They wasn't bad. They was stopping niggas from leaving with shit they wasn't supposed to leave with. That's why they was jumping on the ships. Where you going with this? Give me this. You tripping. And you want to bring our people back enslaved into the land? Unfree them too. You see, that's what they were doing. And You had a lot of them. You had 5 major captains. You had Captain Blackbeard. You had Captain Morgan. Yes, like this is where the drink comes from. The drink, Captain Morgan. You never thought about that. You thought it was an alcohol beverage. No, it's literally named after a real captain. And on that picture, they show you of Captain Morgan. They show you a white guy on that bottle. But Captain Morgan was a goddess. All the pirate captains were goddesses, and all the pirate fleets were goddesses. Now you might have had a few guys on the ship that would work the cannons, but we was using swords and we was using magic. And sometimes we would use that little watered down weaponry like cannons and stuff, but we was using magic. That's why you got so many stories of ghost ships just floating through the Caribbean. You get what I'm saying? And then you got to think about it. The Caribbean has always been dominated with gods and goddesses, carbonated beings. Even to this day. Even to this day, the whole Caribbean is just your so-called black and Latino people. To this day. So it always been like that. That's the West Indies. It don't get more black than the Caribbean. And this is where all the pirating took place in the Caribbean. So that's further proof to you that these were black people. These pirates were black people, and not just black people. They were goddesses. You get what I'm saying? The whole idea behind being a pirate lets you know, if you think about it, these were black people. That's Robin Hood. What was Robin Hood famous for? He would steal from the rich and give back to the poor. That's all the pirates did. Y'all that came over here and stole this shit. You think you're going to leave the land and take it back to Europe? No, you're not. Don't hate, give me this back. We need that back. And that's what they would do. They would get on them ships, board them, and take them over, take everything. And why do you think they called the movie Pirates of the Caribbean? See what I'm saying? That's why they call, because all the pirates took place in the Caribbean. All of it. But they hide our history from us. They can't let you know that you had nuts like that. Just like the Haitian Revolution is one of the most successful revolutions that black people ever did. They don't talk about that at all. They want you to appear weak and feel weak. They not going to let you know that the pirates had them boys scared to get on ships and even come back over here. Because you got to remember, we are surrounded by water. So you can go you can travel the water to get to different parts of the land, but all the land is still connected. Meaning you do not have to go over the water to get to no piece of land. If you're wondering, like, what if the land was connected, then why would they need ships? Because we're surrounded by water. They don't need ships. They was hopping on the ships to move to different parts of the land. Just like, do you have to hop on a ship to get from Florida to New York? You do not. But guess what? If you want to hop on a ship and ride down the Atlantic and go south, you would eventually hit Florida. So think of the landmass like that. It's the same thing. It's one landmass, all these continents connected. You don't need a ship to get from here to Africa or from Europe, but you can still hop on a ship and go from here and sail down to Europe. So that's what they was doing. And the pirates was like, they really wasn't pirates. They was defenders, avengers. If anything, like, no, we not going for that. And like I said, you had Captain Blackbeard, you had Captain Morgan, you had Captain Jack. Matter of fact, that's who they show you in Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow. Well, that was actually a goddess. They have hid them under these names. Just like if you know anything about Ifa, Yoruba, you would know that.
You have 1 minute left.
If you know anything about Ifa or Yoruba, you would know that majority of the Orishas have been hidden behind Catholic saints. I repeat, majority of your Orishas have been hidden behind Catholic saints. This is a fact. Same thing with a lot of those captains. They have been, these were goddesses. They hid behind masculine names and gave them masculine images. There's more people in history, and I'll reveal it later, that you think white and known for doing great things, and they was not white. They were black. They have stolen our story. They have stolen our everything from us. Let that sit on your soul for a second. These pirates were goddesses, and they were black. And they were helping defend the water. but history has painted them as white people that were bad guys.
Thank you for using.
Yeah, so these pirates were painted as villains, and they were painted as white males. When in actuality, the pirates were not villains. They were goddesses, and they were heroes. They were just defending the water. That would explain the true reasoning behind why they were boarding ships and taking the resources. That's why they were boarding ships and taking the resources. So when they say, oh, the pirates would jump on the ship and steal everything, well, the first thing you need to remember is that the shit that they were taking did not even belong to the people they were taking it from. So the pirates didn't steal anything. They were returning shit that was stolen from the land, our land, that was stolen from us. Because everything that was on those merchant ships that the 12 colonies had came from us. It wasn't their shit. You know what I'm saying? They came and took it from us and then thought they was going to get away with it and must have caught up with them down the road. Like, hold on, fam, what you think? That's just like today somebody run in your house and rob your house and take everything. And they ride down the street, they think they're going to get away. They don't know that 4 blocks away, you got a whole squad of people that's waiting for them. You know what I'm saying? They get 4 blocks away, they get pulled over, the people run in, beat them up, take all the stuff out your car, put it in their car and bring it back to you. Are they pirates? So they the pirates, they the bad guys. So we just gonna completely jump over the fact that these niggas who had these European ships, these European merchant ships that had all this merchandise that they said the pirates were stealing, didn't belong to them anyway. Now, let me give you more proof though that Blackbeard was a goddess and that Blackbeard was black. Okay. Secondly, Blackbeard flagship, meaning this is the ship, because she was in control of a whole fleet. But her flagship, which is meaning this is the ship that's none of the weaponry is on the flagship. The only thing normally on the flagship is the treasure that they had took from whoever stole it. The other ships would be used to have all the weaponry on it. Keep in mind we were also using magic, but they don't tell you that though, because they don't even tell you that these pirates were black. They got you thinking these pirates were white people, but all the pirates were black people. Now, the white people that were stealing the shit, they were known as buccaneers. A buccaneer is not another word for a pirate, but if you Google it, they might tell you that. No, the buccaneers are the people that came and originally stole the shit. The pirates are the people that were stealing back from the people that stole it. You know what I'm saying? Just like today, you got the robber comes to your house and steals shit, and then you got the person that robbed the robber, right? So the pirates were like the Robin Hood of the water. Now, the flagship that Blackbeard had was known as Queens and Revenge. That was the name of the ship. Now, this is further proof that these were black people. Now, Queens and Revenge, that wasn't Blackbeard's ship at first. They stole that ship from the European merchants. Queens and Revenge was originally a slave ship that Blackbeard and her crew, they boarded the slave ship, killed the slave masters, freed the slaves, and took over the ship and made it one of their ships. So Queen's Anne's Revenge was originally a slave ship. And Blackbeard took that ship and made it her ship. Okay? More proof that these were black people. The ship was named Queen's Anne's Revenge. Why? Because if you know anything about Queen's Anne's War, okay, Queen's Anne's War was the war between the French, so this is the colonies, the 12 colonies that stole the land from us, between the French and the Indians. These were called the French-Indian Wars. They were called the Queen's Anne's Wars, and the Queen Anne Wars were based upon like 2-3 wars in one. And the wars that were part of Queen Anne's War was the French versus the Indians. Now, who was the French? Don't get caught up in titles. The French is a part of the original 12 colonies. These are the bad Caucasians. These are the bad human beings that came and took the land from us. And who was the Indians? We are the Indians. So we know that the Indians are the tribes, and the tribes are the aboriginal beings of the land, the black people. So basically, the French and Indian War was the black people versus the white people. They come over here and kind of take the land from us in what's present America, and we were defending it. Our ancestors were defending the land. And these were known as the French-Indian Wars. These were known as the French Indian Wars. These were known as the French Indian Wars. The French Indian Wars. Okay? These wars were categorized under the Queen's Anne's Wars because it was a series of wars. It wasn't just one. It's like 3. Okay, so why would a white person name they ship Queen's Anne's Revenge? No, that's us. Like, we gonna get our revenge on Queen Anne because Queen Anne was the queen over there in Great Britain at the time, in Spain at the time. She was one of the queens of Europe that sent her troops to take the land from us, which is why it was called Queen's Anne's Wars. Stay with me, Cosmic Family. I did not come to lie to you. I came to enlighten and inform you. See what I'm saying? These was Queen Anne's Wars. So the first to prove you that Blackbeard was a black person, they stole a slave ship and made it her main ship, and then named the ship Queen's Anne's Revenge. This is the revenge that we are taking on Queen Anne and her people. That's why Blackbeard named the flagship Queen's Anne's Revenge. And then they went to war with all of the European colonies that was taking stuff from the land. So while you had the gods and goddesses supposed to fight on the land against the Spanish conquistadors, the Europeans that were trying to enslave us in the land, you also had war taking place on the water. That was our Navy. But they don't want to tell you we had our own Navy, so they have reclassified our Navy under the hidden title of pirates. And then to further hide your history from you, they have made all of these pirates white. And to further hide your history from you of how powerful the divine feminine energy is, they have showed you every pirate being a man. See how they lied to you about your history, Cosmic Family? And I know they're going to be mad when they hear this lecture. They're like, damn, how the fuck he be knowing that? Y'all not going to be mad, but they going to be pissed. But this is the secret of Blackbeard. Blackbeard was a goddess, not a god. And Blackbeard was not white. It was black. It was a goddess. It was a black person, a black woman, to be exact. And all of your pirates were mostly goddesses. Also, when we was at war with them on the water, we wasn't just using, like I say, we had the sirens helping us and the mermaids. Mind you, all these wars, all this piracy took place in the Caribbean, specifically. When you hear the stories of, the sirens would sing and then the sailors would fall in love with their voices and they would lead them to their death, that's real. Sirens are part of the elemental beings of the water, the sirens. I showed a picture of the sirens before on my IG page. And they still exist. And they would sing and lure them off the ships that way as well. All of them, you had a whole fleet. I'm talking about hundreds of ships that was ran by these black warrior goddesses of the water. And the most feared, the most respected was Blackbeard. But this was a goddess. And under Blackbeard, you have 4 captains. You had Captain Jack. This is what they talk about in Caribbean when they Jack Sparrow, that was a goddess. You had Captain Morgan, which is where they get the drink from, Captain Morgan. They also show you that as a white guy. You had Captain Hook, like when you hear like Captain Hook and Peter Pan, that's where they get that from. And Captain Hook was another goddess, and the Hook name came from the fact how good she was with using hooks and metals and things like that. Even the fucking captain on a cereal box, Captain Crunch. We eat Captain Crunch our whole life, and they show us a white guy, and we ain't thinking nothing of it. Not knowing that was the actual name of also one of the captains, who was famous, who would strike fear into the European merchant ships because she was using her abilities to crush whole ships with her mind, to crunch the bones of the oppressors who were robbing the land from us. And the first captain they took down was Blackbeard. And how did she get killed? The same way they did me in my life, in my past life. Set me up, invited me to a meeting, and arrested me. They did the same thing to Shaka Zulu. Invited him to a meeting, act like they want to do a peace treaty at the meeting, and then arrested Shaka Zulu at the meeting. Did the same thing to Osceola in the Seminole Wars. They couldn't defeat the Seminoles, so they said, hey, we want to call a peace treaty. We want to invite you to a meeting to do a peace treaty. Chief Osceola go to the peace treaty meeting. They arrest him on the spot, kill him on the spot. They did the same thing to Blackbeard. They use that type of forever. Oh, we act like we going to surrender, and then you get there, and they kill you and shit. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing to her. Act like she was out there, was going to surrender. Linked up, set her up, killed her, captured her, beheaded her. And without her leading the rest of the fleet, they took out the rest of the captains. When they took out the rest of the captains, the fleet fell apart from there. Once the fleet fell apart, everybody retreated back to the water and back to the land. Because we also have underwater cities. I'll expound on that in a later lecture. We have whole civilizations that still exist under the water. And this they was trying to hint to you at in Black Panther 2. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some of us went back to live under the water, where we still live to this day, and some of us went back to the land to continue to fight. And we fought all the way to 1862 till they put us under that spell known as the Emancipation Proclamation. And we eventually reclassified as United States citizens. All throughout the Americas, in the Caribbean. And we ain't recovered since. They reclassified the rest of us as Africans and Asians. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is facts. These are cosmic facts. Know your true cosmic history, family. This is the true story of the legend of Captain Blackbeard and the Black Pirates of the Caribbean. These were goddesses, man. They weren't pirates, because they make pirates look bad. You know what I'm saying? The pirates are supposed to be the bad guys. But this is the cosmic truth that they do not want you to know. They don't want you to understand how powerful you are. They don't want you to understand that we've always fought back and defended our land and our women and our children on every level. They don't want you to understand that, cosmic family. Remember who you are. That's why they are attacking me, because it's dangerous for me to give you guys this type of information to unravel history in this way, in this fashion, in this capacity. But you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. You have free will. I am a cosmic guru. I will never infringe upon that. I cannot infringe upon it on your free will. That's the number one rule of the cosmos, free will. Rule number one. So you have the free will to say, hey, you know what? He's a conspiracy theorist. He's crazy. He's making things up. Or you have the free will to go within yourself and meditate on what I'm telling you this evening and believe it or not. Anywhere you go, I love you regardless, because you are my reflection. This isn't racist. What's racist is when they whitewash history and show you everybody is being white. They never did anything that anybody ever made any significant impact. They color their skin white. You go look up Marie Laveau, who was doing the voodoo queen in New Orleans. They got her damn near looking white. You go look at the Prophet Yahweh, a.k.a. Jesus, they made him white. Anybody you look up on any level that did anything significant, they make them white. You got all these powerful warrior goddesses that went to war on this water to protect our people, and you didn't masquerade them under the title of white, Caucasian, male pirates. All is being revealed, though, cosmic family. All is being revealed. The veil is being lifted on every level. We are in spiritual renaissance. That's why they be looking for Blackbeard treasure. They still looking for it. Ain't found it. Because what y'all consider treasure is just our natural resources. We wasn't hoarding it. Go look at Christopher Columbus' memoirs. He said when he got here, the water was filled with gold. The rivers were filled with gold. They came and excavated all that stuff because they are obsessed with the material. We are cosmic beings. We are the creators of it. We don't have to hoard it. We created it. We don't have to take it nowhere with us. It's ours. Are you stealing shit out your own house? No, because it's yours. But if a stranger come in your house, they going to take the shit because it ain't theirs. You get where I'm going with it? How you going to steal your own couch out your living room? You would never do that because it's your couch. You ain't going to move it nowhere because it's yours. We ain't have to move nothing around. It's ours. We put it here to decorate this planet. But because they are not from this planet, they want to excavate it and take it and run off here with it, take it there. And our goddesses wasn't going for that. Man, put my furniture back. That's all that was. It's like if I come to your house and steal your couch and I run down the street with it, you catch me on the next block, whip my ass and take the couch back, and you gonna put it right back in your house. And that's what they did. That's why they can't find Blackbeard's treasure. Google it. They've been looking for it forever. Where is this mass treasure that he accumulated? Because all the shit that the goddess Blackbeard was taking, but she was taking all the shit back they stole from us and bringing it right back to the land and putting it back where it belongs. We are the creators of all you see and all that you do not see. We are both creator and creation. We are one with Almighty God. That's a fact. We are children of the Spirit, not of the flesh. Luminous beings are we. Remember that. Everything they ever taught us in school was a lie. But now they mad at me for revealing the lies to you. Well, they shouldn't have fucking lied. How about those apples? Whole world mad at Rashad Jamal for bringing truth back to the aboriginal beings, the gods and goddesses, the blacks and Latino people. And I don't push away the white people that want to learn the truth. I embrace all, regardless of your skin pigmentation. Because it's not about your skin pigmentation, it's about your vibration. But I am here to give you the truth. So you're gonna have to accept some of these lies that have been told by your own people if you are a Caucasian and you're listening to the YouTube channel. Just because it's a YouTube channel, right? If it's not the truth, it's just my opinion. Nobody should be mad. Everybody should walk away from this lecture and say, hey, that YouTuber, he crazy. He talking about them pirates was black and they were women. They not. They'll walk away and be pissed. Why are you so mad? It ain't like y'all teaching this in y'all school. So why does it matter what Rashad Jamal is saying about the black goddesses who were actually the pirates of the Caribbean? Or that birds are not real? Or that we had two suns? Or that we are gods and goddesses from an entirely different planet? The things that make you go, right, Cosmic Family? We have a beautiful history. And it's imperative that you know that. You come from greatness. You are
have 1 minute left.
You are greatness. You are greatness. But with that being said, I love you deeply. Share this lecture on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Now leave as I come in perfect peace. Now we rise. I say.